Hi, everyone. I'm Immigration Lawyer John Khosravi of the Immigration Lawyers Podcast and Toolbox. Today, I want to do a special service provider episode to talk with Enrique Serna or Enrique Serna, whichever you prefer, as he's told me, to talk about his company, Immigration the Right Way. If you were part of the AILA conference and you were there, you got familiar with his background and his company, but I really wanted to focus on the work he does. So practitioners, you get a better understanding of this extra service that you can provide your clients to really get their cases going. It's really something that's going to affect a lot of people on every kind of immigration category. You just get their case going, and in particular, avoid them from just waiting to file because they're afraid of certain things like filing fees. So, Enrique, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Hey, John, thank you very much for having me. And you can call me, as I said, whatever you want, Enrique, whatever. I can call all sorts of names, and I'm okay with it. Provided someone tries, I'm good.
So I guess to start, let briefly know about yourself because you're an attorney as well, and then get into what Immigration Right Way is and how you made the decision to start this business.
Obviously, I've been trying cases for about 26 years. Uh, Product liability lawyer, primarily based out of Texas, but tried cases literally all over the U.S. Um, and we've done well. And for many years, for about 17 years, I actually employed immigration lawyers in my firm.
Hmm.
And so Victoria, my wife, and I, earlier in the year, were wanting to impart give back. For many, many years, I'm originally from Mexico. I became a U.S. citizen in 1987 with the Simpson-Rodino law that President Reagan signed into law back then. Uh, we obviously became good uh, taxpayers and good people to come into this country and live the American dream. And at this stage of our life, my wife and I wanted to give back a little bit more.
Hmm.
As I said, for about 17 years, John, we we would help primarily in the Mexican consulates in their Saturdays and Sundays every once a month in diverse cities. And we saw the humongous need. We would start meetings on Saturdays at 7 a.m. And there were a couple of nights that we were there till 2 in the morning because we wanted to make sure that everybody that was waiting in line for us, we would be able to answer and attend. And that's pretty much how the concept of immigration the right way grows. And obviously, I can talk to you a lot, but I want to make it interactive. So start.
Sure. So what is Immigration the Right Way?
So
The
immigration,
business, that is, yeah. Other than just the catchphrase, yeah.
so immigration the right way, in a sense, what we did is we assembled a digital platform. We created our own unique software, which primarily puts together lawyers with willing paying clients. Okay. We decided to invest in a platform that would literally replace, in part, the interview process of the client, selecting the lawyer, sitting down with them, getting the paperwork done, and telling them about their case. We simplified it all into a digital platform by which obviously with COVID and some of the impossibilities and restrictions of travel, we wanted to put together a customer in their own home, office, etc., with a competent lawyer wherever they are.
Hmm.
Uh, for example, John, I know you're one of the very best in your field,
Like,
and if there were other willing clients in Europe or Latin America that wanted to capture your services, and if you were obviously part of us, what I ask practitioners to do is give me their best pricing so that I can make it more mainstream for the consumer.
hmm.
And in the midst of doing this, what we wanted to do is make it easier for the client to connect with the lawyer. Right now, what you're doing, as you do it so good, as other lawyers do it good, you tailor it to a geographic location where your office is located. With immigration the right way, you can be anywhere in the US. We know immigration is federal,
Hmm.
and you can have clients from Florida or from New York, hiring you in LA, doing what you do best. And that's obviously the idea. Then we thought about how do we make it easier? So we obviously set up our software so that the client can go in. We give them some free products, some free downloads to make it easier for them to understand. We have some very basic services. And eventually, what we did, John, is we also, well, what we did is we also made it a little easier for the client to want to actually feel comfortable with our interview. So what we saw is not everybody's going to have a computer or a phone. So we kind of partner with UPS stores so that you can go in there. Let's say if you're more indigent, you don't have access to technology, so that in those stores you can do it. Then we said immigration is expensive. You're a lawyer that's very competent. You charge enough for your fees. There's a bunch of other brother lawyers that are very competent in their field. And not every client that wants immigration can afford it. I know that at times in my firm, we have to be making those weekly calls when we got people on payment plans as to, hey, it's your turn and your visa's coming and the rest. So what I did is I went through a friend of mine in Georgia who came up with a very interesting concept in a company called BYD Cash. And what they did is they said, hey, we will pay the lawyer and we will lend money to the immigrant as they walk through the process. And that's a first in kind because there was no such directed program for immigration lending. So when a client comes to us through our platform, if you choose, get automatically referred to BYD Cash. And if John charges $8,500 to get this visa done, and you don't have but a couple of grand, you make a payment special arrangement by where BID pays John, and then the client starts making payment in their own turn. We also, John, thought about those clients that were not too literate in technology, so UPS did not have the money, obviously BYD to solve that. But then there are a bunch of others, as fellow practitioners know, that pay in cash. So how do we resolve someone in Miami hiring you, John, in LA, but they're wanting to pay cash for whatever reason? So we partnered with MoneyGram nationwide. We're the first corporation that MoneyGram actually approves for this service type of industry, so that you can download a code from our website, go to MoneyGram, take it, and pay for the governmental fees, the services, and the attorney fees in cash if you desired so. And this becomes popular, John, in a bunch of other countries or in certain segments of population, like where I am in California, close to the Palm Springs area, the Coachella Valley, where a lot of the would-be clients just don't have access to bank accounts for whatever reason. So in a nutshell, that's it, John. That's our company.
I mean, the partnerships are amazing that you created between MoneyGram, UPS, BYD. I mean, that's amazing to have it all. So you pretty much set it up, the front end stuff of the headache that a lot of lawyers don't like to do, which is the business, getting to get marketing a business. They just could practice law then. It's really like, giving the person who'll work to finish the case. You do a lot of the, overhead kind of stuff at the front end.
Absolutely, John. And look, as I say, immigration is for specific, time consuming. There's a couple of products in the marketplace where you pay very inexpensive prices, but it's kind of like do it yourself. We as practitioners know that the degree of error, not knowing how to properly answer a question, can be so costly. You might make a mistake, have to seek a waiver, your file gets complicated, where obviously our fellow practitioners that are at the top of the game, the margin of error is virtually none. However, immigration is very time consuming. And I see it from a lot of my good friends like you, like Bill Fong, like Andrea Jacobs, like others that obviously you got to account for all your hours and time. So the headache of taking away the collection,
Yeah.
the headache of taking away the administration of the amount you have in arrear that clients need to pay and the collection of fees and the rest, we try to really solve that. And then in COVID, the complexity of the interview, John, you are extremely in the cutting edge of technology. I congratulate you for that. You make it easy for your clients to find you online, to get you going with your Zoom meetings. You have everything very digitally there for them. Not everybody is as sophisticated in this field as you've become. And so what we wanted to do is break that barrier and make it easy for that smaller lawyer or starting practitioner or someone that busy that just does not have the time to then schedule and sit people in their office and uh, take to them. Now they can do it all digitally. Now I'm not saying our interview is the most complete, but it covers about 80% of the hardcore questions where a practitioner would evaluate a case and say, oh my God, I don't know whether we can help you with this or we might not. So we make it easy. That's what it is.
And that saves a lot of time because alternatively, you'd have to have an intake specialist. You'd have to hire a person to deal with that initial review. And also going back to what you said a minute ago about collecting the fees. I mean, people have one of the biggest complaints I hear about people who have their own offices, especially if they have staff and stuff, is keeping track of the money, people not paying in time, following up. It's kind of like those doctor's offices with billing kind of stuff. And it really takes the joy out of practicing. So if they get the lump sum up front and let someone else deal with the billing, and on the client side, it's such a big, important thing because they may not have had the money. They may not have access to credit, a credit card to even borrow the money if they wanted to. So you really provide a service there. What's if an attorney wanted to work with you guys? What is the process? What would I have to go to the website? Do I call or email? How do I get involved and learn more and also get involved?
Well, obviously, you can email me directly at enrique@immigrationtherightway.com. But in our webpage, John, we made it very easy for attorneys. So if you go to immigrationtherightway.com or if you go to migracionalminuto.com, because we also obviously did it in Spanish, there's a section that is called attorneys. Put in your name and we will get in contact with you. And then what I've been doing is with certain lawyers, everybody has a different area of specialty. And so I tell the lawyers, pick 3 or the 4 areas that you like the most, that you're most passionate in immigration about. And then what are your standard prices? What I'm telling the lawyers is, give me your best price, not when you are busy with 10 clients in queue and you're waiting to pop out all the documentation for them, but in the weeks where your traffic flow is lower, give me your best pricing for that, because what I want to make it also for the consumer is a bit more affordable. Mm-hmm. And as we know in immigration, there are several tiers of clients. You have your corporate clients, which typically, will pay you and cover your fees and not have an issue. Then you have more of the ones that seek other sort of visas, like investor visas and others that come equipped with a bigger budget for it. But then there's the other ones that are, more middle class oriented, that are very watchful of what they spend. And eventually, for those, we want to make it more affordable. So that's pretty much what we did in that regard.
That you mentioned, the website has another version in Spanish version, which is really important because the immigration bar deals so heavily with the Spanish-speaking community. Could you say the name of that page as well again?
Yeah, absolutely. It's called Migración al Minuto.
Immigration al Minuto. My Spanish sucks. Immigration in a minute or something, or what does that translate to?
Yeah. It's pretty much like minute immigration. What we wanted to do in Spanish is to pretty much tell the client you can be on your phone
I see.
en español y puedes sacar la página y mandarnos de tu teléfono una entrevista rápida. What we did in Spanish too, John, is we adapted the software to be phone friendly. So at least you start going through the interview quick. And
Mhm.
we call it Migración al Minuto because the idea was we're going to take away the time that it takes to call the lawyer, to set a meeting, to go to their office, to travel, to sit with them. And then we're going to make it all at your fingertips and in your computer so that you can release it and go.
Now, if someone signs up for immigration the right way, are they automatically on the Spanish side too, or is it you have to, how does it work with both of them? Are they separate things?
Well, they're actually one click of a button, and the software converts you into total Spanish or total English.
Okay.
And eventually, what we're planning to do, John, is not ignore our other brothers in other parts of the world, and
Yeah,
eventually start getting into other languages.
for
But
sure.
when we launched, the interview is not just Google Translate in Spanish or English. We actually crafted it very careful so that the lingos and language mannerisms are embedded into the interview in Spanish. We put a lot of thought into it. So English and for the lawyers too, because they have a lot of, I know of a lot of lawyers, especially here in California and in Nevada, that deal with their clientele primarily in Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's why I'm like the Spanish option is there. I'm sure people who sign up are going to want to be on that page too. That's going to be a great service. It's amazing having all these different opportunities for clients to connect with lawyers is always the main thing. I was reading a statistic from the USCIS Ombudsman's Office in an annual report, and they said about 30% of USCIS filings have an attorney on them, so 70% don't. And as an attorney, I'm like that see as a disaster because I see the horror stories. So if we can make it price effective, easy, less scary, I think less scary is the most. People, when they call me up, this is the first time they're hiring a lawyer. They know it's going to cost a lot of money. They're intimidated. Anything you could do to smooth the process. So they may have the money, just the intimidation factor is too much for them to call. Anything to decrease these barriers is a net positive for the immigrant community, for USCIS, for lawyers, for everybody, because the bureaucracy is gotten wild. So it's really important that we help people in every way we can, every tier of society.
And you know what, John, you bring a really good point because we still today, I mean, we advertise on our page, we are not the government.
Mhm.
Maybe it was our choice of choosing immigration the right way. I've always liked that slogan because it's one that both Republicans and Democrats kind of use. So it kind of has a political connotation to doing it right. And obviously, we are providing the right service because we're connecting great lawyers like you with people that really need of your services because, as we know, we only get a one-time chance. But this issue, John, this lack of trust, particularly after the Trump years, where particularly in the Hispanic or Latin community, there were all these, raids and more stringent laws, et cetera, in non-sanctuary states or cities. Um, you'd be surprised how many people, even digitally, are hesitant to want to connect. They want to make sure their data is secured, and they want to make sure that we're not running any sort of program with the government. And obviously, we spend some time telling the consumer, no. We're obviously transparent. We're hooking you up with a lawyer. You're concerned and obviously consenting to this service, and your data is secured. And even digitally, John, people are intimidated.
Yeah.
And the statistics of how many are in the United States, how many millions of people that are totally out of status, that would obviously benefit from an amnesty that we hope it's coming or some sort of path to legalization. I find that a lot of our people, when they're in that limbo, they don't feel at ease, even digitally, when nobody can do anything and they don't even know where they are.
Yeah.
So So yeah, that is something that we're also trying to educate for the veterans of the practice itself,
Yeah.
and to make the consumer a little bit more at ease that what we do is to benefit them.
Yeah, and the anticipation for a potential, partial amnesty or something is there. It seems like something's going to have to happen one way or another. So there's this dam that's going to break of people looking for immigration attorneys, and having different ways to connect with one is going to be so important. Before we leave, could you remind us about the best way to follow you, if there's any social media, or if there's the last thing you want to remind watchers?
Yeah, we are obviously on Facebook, on Instagram. We're on TikTok for Immigration the Right Way. There is an attorney section of Immigration the Right Way if you're interested to click to get a hold of us. Um, uh, just as we are providing a solution to my fellow practitioners in the sense that with BYD Cash, you can get a lot of your fees paid up front, and that's a great remedy. I'm also asking my beautiful fellow practitioners, give me your best price. We are truly no, we're a for-profit company. We're not doing the non-for-profit. We announce it. We make it very clear. We're trying to mainstream the prices, John. For example, uh, some lawyers in certain segments where of the country we see where there's not a lot of other practitioners charge 10, 12, $15,000 for someone perhaps in a bigger city would charge up to $6,000.
Mhm.
I'm trying to kind of even the quilt in creating this
Yeah.
amazing marketplace so that we can make it better for more people. Because the more legal the people are, the better they are, the better in their shoes they are, the,
Yeah.
the better they develop in society. And that's pretty much part of our message too.
Wonderful. Well, God bless you. Thank you, Enrique. So, thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for sponsorship of the magazine. You catch the article that you wrote breaking down your background. It was very interesting, starting off where you're coming from personally, and the company. The new issues hopefully coming out in the next week or two. We're doing the final touches. This always runs a little bit late, but August is the deadline for issue 3 of the Immigration Lawyers Toolbox magazine. So I really look forward to having that out there so people can learn more about your company, Immigration the Right Way. Thank you,
Absolutely,
Enrique.
absolutely, John, and thank you. And I got to tell you, your immigration magazine, what a great, beautiful idea. And I see what you write, and I see how specific you get in your areas. And I got to applaud you and commend you because you're really hitting in areas where not every practitioner is at. So kudos to you, and whatever we can do to support your reach efforts, we'll be happy to do as
I
we
appreciate
believe we can run in parallel and do a greater service for the whole immigrant community.
Yeah, thank you. It's such a complicated practice area, and there's just so much to grow, and with the technology that there is to really just help everybody, like a win-win situation. So I saw the opportunity in the marketplace, and so my practice is there, but this is becoming a bigger part of my life, which I'm enjoying a lot. Enrique, stay on the line. I'm going to end the interview, but I appreciate you coming on and sharing this information.
Got it, John. Okay. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you too.